Hello everyone, good evening. Welcome to Next for Code, the place where code nourish. So today it's the third day for our Java fundamental course. So before we move towards the today's agenda, do you guys have any doubts? Like any doubts in whatever is covered so far or assignment, anything, if you have anything, you can just ask and then we'll move on to the today's agenda. Hello, can you hear me guys? Am I audible? Okay, so if you want, like I will just maybe explain you the assignment two once and then we can discuss about the static method. Okay guys, so let's start with today's agenda. So today we'll discuss more about strings and we'll also discuss about like how the decision flow work, conditional programming, how does it work, right? So all these things we see today. Yeah. Okay. So just okay, let's start with the today's agenda. Yeah, so before going in depth of strings and other things, like I wanted to cover user input part. Like as many of you don't know how to take inputs in the user, and like we have not covered that how we can take an input from a user or like the assignments you were doing it via like by defining the variable. So today we'll just start with user input. So we'll create a project for today. Okay, let's name it say day 3 and just finish it. Okay guys, so again the D3 project, let's create a source file. Okay, I think this is some old files, we just delete them. Refactor. Okay, so we can just, if it's not allowing us to delete, just delete the source. Okay, we just maybe create a new project. I think this is some old project it picked up. So just say Java day 3. Let's do in this. Okay, so we'll just create a class. And let's say user input. We'll just create a user input class. And let's see how the user inputs works in Java. So we'll just create our main method, right? Am I audible, guys? Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Yes, okay. I think someone was complaining. So just check. I think it's working fine. So you can just check and I can also hear myself in my phone. So I think everything is good. Yeah. So we'll start with user input. So guys, there's like, so when you want to take a user input, we have a scanner class in Java using which you can take the user input. And we can just create an object of a scanner class. So normally, right, whenever you want to create any objects, we use new keyword. So once we discuss more about oops concepts, right, we'll see how what does this new keyword do and all. Yeah, but for now, like to take a user input, we just need to create a object of a scanner class. And by default, right, a scanner class is not, so whatever classes we write or whatever we use, right, they lie in the java.lang package in case of Java. What is a package? Package is like just a, so you can think of it of a package is like it's a bundle of classes which we can use, which are say already, it can be already written classes. You can also create your own packages, right? So it's just a bundle of classes. So scanner is something like how to, like whatever the handling will be say at the IO side or how the input will be, you read the input and all, it's already written by us. Like we don't need to Go a code which actually read from console. So we just need to import java.util.scanner. Right? This is something we need to import if you want to use a scanner class. Using new, we are creating the object of a scanner class. And what is the system.in? We are informing a scanner class, like this is a constructor where we are passing system.in. It means that we will be reading from console, right? So whatever this like output and all we see, right, system.out, it's also a console. Like we are showing the output on the console. And when we write here system.in, it also means console, that we are reading from console. Okay. And using this scan, we can read the input. So now next things come that how you will read input. So let us suppose, let's go with, let's say we write a program, say, to add two numbers, right? So we'll ask user to say enter numbers. So we'll just say enter the number 1, right? Similarly, we'll say, we'll ask user to input two numbers, enter the number 1, then we'll say enter the number 2, right? So user will entering two numbers, and what we'll do, we have to store this number in some variable. Let us suppose we define say integer num1 equal to, and we using this scan, we have these methods. So you can see here also, right? I'll just maybe zoom also good. So you can see these, they are different methods: next in, next short, next, double float. So whatever we want based on the data type, we give the next method. So if like here, if you want to read integer, so we'll just say next int, right? And it will give us a integer number. So we'll be like whatever the integer will read from console, it will be stored in this variable, right? Similarly, in the next things comes in, right? We want to read one more integer, so we'll just say next int, and we'll name say this variable as num2, right? So this is how you are reading say two integers from the console from as a user input. So we want to say add these two numbers, so we can just define a variable int sum equal to num1 plus num2, right? And then we can just print that, right? We can just print the sum, right? So this will be the program of editing two numbers by taking the user input, right? We just save this file. Yeah. And sometimes guys, right, during the class, sometimes like I miss your doubts because like it's not possible to look at the chat all the time. So you can just keep your doubt with yourself, and like maybe in the end of the session or like after some time as the topic is complete, you can ask your doubts, right? So don't worry, like all the doubts will be resolved. So in case we cannot take during the session or like during the initial time or while the topic was being discussed, you can ask them again once the topic is done. Okay, so let's run this program and see how does it go. You can just save it. Yeah, so here it's asking us to enter number 1, right? If you see here. So number 1, let us suppose if we are entering say 12, and then it's asking number 2, and then you can enter say 15, right? So we have entered two integers, and it's giving us the sum of the two integers also. Okay, so this is how we have done for the integer. Let us suppose if you wanted to do say for float, right? User input float. So guys, what we can do in scan, there are multiple methods similar to like next in. We have next float also, right? We have next float also to read float, and we have to like whatever the value in which we will store this will be also float, right? So this will be also float. Similarly, if you ask me, right, tomorrow I want to say go for strings, so we can just say next short is also there. If we want to read short, if you want to read string, it's just next, because by default, because the data type should be also a string. So you can also write, once you guys press Control space, right, in Eclipse, it's also show you the different methods and which data type it will read. So if you can see here, right, it's showing us this will be a string. We have next short method also, we have next long method also, we have next byte method also, similarly we have next float method also, right? So if you want to input strings, you can just use string method, and you can just define here like a string. So this is how you can take a string also. Or there is a next line method also when you want to read complete line. If you want to read complete line, you can just use next line also, right? So this is how we can read. But whatever the data type you are reading here, you have to define the same data type here. So let us suppose if you want to say this, change this program to float, addition of two floats. So here what we'll do, we'll just say next float, right? We are storing it in a float variable. This will also become float, right? And here it will also become float, right? and the sum will also come as float. And guys, one more thing, right? Let us suppose if you are adding two numbers which are float, you don't need to explicitly typecast the sum to float, because if you are adding two floats, it will be float. Because we have seen in our assignment, like you explicitly typecast it, but if it's float plus float, it will be float. If one number is of higher class, the output will be of that class only, right? So this is how we will add two numbers. Okay. And once you get the sum, you can just print the sum, right? So this is how you have taken two numbers, we have added them, and this is a float. So let's try to run this program. So this is how we are doing, say, taking two inputs or two numbers for floats, right? So let us suppose it's 12.2, yeah, and second number is say 12.3. Okay, this should be 3. So it's coming as 25.5. So I think I'll just scroll this up. So you can see here, right? So these are the two numbers which we have inputted, and this is the sum which is it showing, right? But okay, let us suppose if in place of float, like we were expecting float, if someone gives something else, what will happen? Let us suppose if I gave here a, something like this. So it will throw an exception. So we should always, like if we are expecting a float, the input should be float only. It cannot be something else, right? So this is how we can take inputs, right? Yeah. If you want to take input like say some character and all, you have to take it as a string. Okay, so this is what we have in case of user input part. Like this is how easily you can take any kind of data types or anything as a user input. Okay. So next things which comes in today, right? We'll discuss about strings. So I think this is like we can read different data types and we can do. This is system.in, which means a console input. Yeah, so next things we wanted to discuss. So we started in string earlier, but yeah, we'll go in more depth of a string. Yeah. So here what we'll do, we'll just create a new class, right? Which will be a say string, something like say string util. We are just defining say string util. So this is a class which we have defined. Okay, so yeah guys, static methods and all I will explain you once again, maybe in the end of the session, like once we will discuss about, like we'll explain you how the assignment 2 will work, and there we will cover the static methods also. For setting the precision of float, you have to do the custom output, so that may we cover later on. Okay, so now it's come to string util part. Okay, so what are the different things we can do with a string? So guys, to define a string in Java, we can just say string as equal to s, and then we can just give the string name, right? And this, what is a string? String is just a sequence of characters, right? So this is how we can define strings. Right? We have defined string s1 and we have given the string. Okay. So what comes next? Like once you have defined the string, what are the different things you can do? And there is one more way of defining a string in Java. We can also say string s equal to new string, and we can pass a string here. So these are two ways using which we can define the strings in Java, right? So here what we have done, we have just directly assigned the strings using code, double quotes, and we have given the strings to this variable which is stored in S1. Here we have used new keyword, we have given the string class, and this is how we can define the strings. So we know, right, new keyword we generally use to create new objects. But what's the difference here is, okay, let's see. Let us suppose I have defined a string say S3 also, which is also say hello world, right? So we have defined one more string which is hello world again. So we know, right? So we discuss about relational operators. So if I say, let us suppose if I do say S1, I'm just saying say boolean result. So right, we know, right, all the relational operator will result in some boolean. And if I say S1 equal to S2, so or we'll just name it say result 1. And similarly, if I'm defining say result 2, S1 equal to say S3, right? So these are two variables which you have defined, right? And now we did say, let's suppose we try to print this, right? we try to print this result 1 and result 2. So what do you think, what will the output of this? Like it can be a true, or just clear this. Yeah. So what will the output of this? Like it will be true, true, false, false, false. What do you think, guys? False, true, because all are hello strings. Yeah. Okay, so what do you think? What will the output of this program? You can just, so there can be, like you just have to do a permutation, like you just have to do permutation combination of true, like it can be true, true, it can be true, false, it can be false, true, it can be false, false. Okay, so if you are saying false, true, and if you are saying true, true. Okay, so let's see what it will be, right? So, okay, let's execute this. Just save it. So you can see the output is coming as false, true. So if we see here, when we are comparing S1 with S3, it's finding that both are the same string. But when we are comparing S1 with S2, it's not being able to identify that both are the same string, right? Why we have stored hello is stored in both, but then why it's not working for us, right? So this is a question, right? It should be either same thing for both, right? Why it's giving us true for S1, why it's giving us true for S1, S3, but not giving us true for S1 and S2. So there is something, right, which is a very beautiful concept in Java, which is called as string constant pool. Okay, so I'll explain you this, that how a string constant pool works. Yeah, so what happens, right? Yeah, so what happens, right? Whenever you create a string, right? So there will be two things which are there, right? We know, right? We discussed about heap memory, right? In the last session, right? So we have a heap, right? And inside the heap, guys, we also have a string constant pool. This is known as string constant pool. This is also a string constant. So guys, when you define, say when I'm saying S1 equal to hello world, right? This is how we have created the string. So this S1, and okay, we did S2 equal to new string, and here we also pass hello world. And we did S3 equal to hello world. So guys, when you are doing with say new, it create a new object for you, and when you do it without new, it's create a string in the string constant pool, because we know strings are immutable, you cannot change strings, right? So it will create a string in a string constant pool. At the first line, what it will do, it will create a string in a string constant pool, and S1 will be pointing to this string. But when you do S2 equal to new string hello world, right, this one, it will create an object in heap, and in this object, what is stored? We have stored hello world. Okay, but when we come to this line, right, S3 equal to hello world, what happens, right, guys? Whenever you create a string without new keyword and with just directly with the quotes, it creates the string always in the string constant pool. So and it always first search in the string constant pool if the string is present. If it's present, it will just point to the same string. So here we know, right, this string, right, it's already in the constant pool. We can see hello world is already in the string constant pool. So what we'll do here, it will just point the same string to the S3. So S3 will also start pointing to the same string. What's the difference here? When we are doing with new string, it creates a new object. So it's not worried of if it's present already or not. But when you do it with direct assignment operator and give it in the quotes, it creates a string in the string constant pool. So guys, why string constant pool is here? Because to optimize, right? So what's the benefit we are getting with this? It's not like, because it's not that the same string will not be created again and again. So memory will be optimized, right? Because both the strings, if they are same, they will point to the same memory location or same thing. So this will help us. This is kind of a optimization way of like handling the strings, and we know strings are constant, so it's not possible that someone comes in and change it and then s1 s3 both change, because we know it's constant, right? So this is helping internally to maintain the optimized way of strings. But yeah, if you always create with new, it will always create a new objects even if it's the same string. So let us suppose if I say, similarly if I say create s4 equal to, right, if I do s4 equal to new string, right, and here also we give say hello world, right, here if you also give say hello world. So in this case it will create a new string of s4, which it will not search for it because we are using new keyword, and new keyword means that we want a object which will be residing in the heap. So is it clear to everyone? Does have s3, then it will create. If let us suppose if we do s4 also, again it will not create, it will just point to that. If it's the same string, it will just point to that. It doesn't create a new object. So always, like when we are doing with this or this way, it always first search in the constant pool. And if it's not present in the constant pool, let us suppose if I say s5 equal to hello, right? So if hello, if s5 hello is not present, it will just create the s5 in that constant pool, and hello will be created here like this. So this is how it works. So I hope this is clear to everyone. This is very important concept, like how the string constant pool, like how this works, because it's the way we are optimizing. And you should also understand that we should not always create strings using new keyword, because it will not be an optimized way, it will consume more memory. Okay, so now let's move on to the what all methods we have in case of strings. Like we have trim method, to uppercase method, to lowercase method, caret method, start with, and with substrings. Okay, so let's see how all these methods works. So these are the different methods which we can use on strings. These are the most common or important methods which you will see. Okay, so let us suppose we have defined a string. Okay, we'll just take say s1, and you just want to convert s1 like all the characters to uppercase. So we can just say s1 dot to uppercase, right? So what it will do, it will just convert that string to uppercase. Okay, after that let us suppose we do sysout. Okay, let us suppose we do sysout uppercase to uppercase, and we also do say sysout s1, right? So this is how we have done. We have just converted s1 to uppercase, right? Okay, someone is asking if we change s1, will it change s3, guys? So you cannot change a string. You can just change the reference of a variable, but you cannot change a string because strings are immutable. So let us suppose if I say, okay, so I'll just give you an example for this. Okay, so let us suppose what I did before going to uppercase. Let us suppose if I did say s1 equal to hello, right? Now s1 is starting pointing to s1. Okay, but what will happen to s3? Okay, so s1 after change, right? And it will be s1. Similarly, okay, let's see what's happened to s3. So what do you think? What will the output of this? Will it print hello, hello, hello for both, or hello word, hello, or hello, hello word? What do you think? What will the output of this guy now? What it will print? Like it will be hello, hello word, or hello word, hello. What do you think? Like the options can be, it give us output. Either it will be hello, hello, or it will be hello, hello word. Will it be hello, hello, or hello word, hello word? Okay, so I will explain you guys once. I think we discussed about this. I'll just explain how does it work. I think we'll just insert maybe a new empty slide. because this is already a lot of things we have done here. Okay. So guys, what will happen in this case? I'll explain you. Let us suppose you have done what? You have done say s1 equal to hello world, right? Okay. And then let us suppose we are saying s3 equal to hello world. After this we say s1 equal to hello. So what will happen? We have a string constant pool, right? At a first step, what will happen? S1 will be created and it will be pointing to hello world, right? Then again S3 will see that, okay, this is a string constant pool. Then S3 will see, right, if the same string is present, I will also point to the same string. But then we know strings we cannot modify. I cannot just go to this memory location and change, right? It's not possible. So what it will do? What it's saying, S1 equal to hello. So S1 will stop pointing to this. This will be removed. And S1 will start pointing now to the new string, which will be hello. So we can see here S3 is still pointing to the hello world, right? So you can see here S3 is still pointing to the hello world. And S1 is now pointing to the hello, right? So I hope this is now clear to all of you guys that how this works. Because we cannot modify strings. They are immutable, right? Okay. So even if we run this, right, the output will be hello and hello world, right? We'll just run this program. Okay. Okay, I think we're good here. Now let's see the methods which we have in strings, right? So first method that I wanted to discuss today is we have a upper method. So let us suppose I just want to change s1 to the uppercase. I just say s1 dot to uppercase. Right? So what it will do? It will just change all the letters, right, in s1 to the uppercase, right? So this is how we can change s1 to uppercase, right? Similarly, so what it will do? It will just change the uppercase. We'll just maybe try to print this after this. Let's see. S1 after uppercase. So these are common method, right? Normally in other languages also, if you just want to say change to uppercase, you will just append S1 here. Okay. Similarly, we have a lowercase method also. So what we need to do? We need to just do, and we just say to lowercase. So what it will do? It will just convert that to a lowercase. And the S1 will be converted to a lowercase. Okay. Right? And now, once we convert here to a lowercase, you can also try. And there are other options, right, which we have. The other methods, like let us suppose, if we just want to get a character at an index. Okay, before we go to say character, we have a trim method also. So what trim do, right? It will just remove any trailing space or if there is any spaces there, right? Okay, so what does it mean? That let us suppose I was having a string. Okay, I've defined say some new string. I'll just name it say string having spaces or white spaces, right? So this was a string which was having say some extra space and it was having high like something like this, right? So this was a string which were there. Okay. And we just want to remove whatever the extra spaces are there, leading or trailing spaces. So it will remove both. And here what we do, we'll just say string is having spaces dot trim. So string having spaces dot trim, right? Oh, I think it's copied something else. 1 second. Right. So what we'll do is string having spaces equal to string having spaces dot trim. Okay. So now let's try to print this also. Right. So this is the one method which you can do if you want to remove the trailing spaces. Right. It will remove all these white space characters. Right. Okay. Next method we have, like if you want to say get a character at any index. Okay. So before explain you, right, character at any index, I just want to explain you one more thing. Yeah. So just add one new string. So guys, whatever the strings we define, right, you can think it of a it's also like a array of a character. So let us suppose when I am saying hello world, each and every character will have indexes, right? So it will be something like, right? So it will be something like this. Space will also have a character. Something like this would be there. And what does it mean? It means like this is a index 0, index 1, like this. It will go till end. Like this, positive indexes. So if I want to say fetch any character at particular index, so I can use char method. So like if I want to say check what is the character at this index. So all these are indexes, right? These are indexes. So if you want to get a character at an index, you can just say caret. So if it say s1 dot caret, and I just say caret index 1, and this will return a character, right? You can just name our variable, say caret 1, something like this. So it will just return a character data type, and we can just print this also, character at index 1. So these are very useful, right? Whenever writing a program, these methods will be useful. Like you'll understand them better, like when we do some programs also around this. So this is how we can get the characters also, right? And we also have a substring. So substring, what is substring? It will be just a part of a string, right? So we can just say, right? So substring. So we have two methods of substring. One we can give a, okay, we can give a begin index, like from which index we want to start. Let us suppose I want to start, say, from index 4 until which index you want to go. Let us suppose I want to go, say, till index 8. But it will not include the value which is at index 8, right? So here you can just say go from begin index and up to index 8. That is value from index 4 to 7. So it will just give us a value from index 4 to 7. So this is how, like, if you want to get a part of a string, we can get it. And if we just want to modify the existing string, we have to assign it to in a same variable. Or if we just want to say store it in some other variable, you can just say string substring equal to like this, right? And we can just try to print this and see what is a substring, right? And what will be the value like this, right? So this is how we can check for the substrings also. So these are the majorly important methods. There is one split method also, which we'll see maybe later on once we understand arrays also. Okay. Okay, so let's try to run this program. Character at something, some exception comes in. String out of range 8. I think we have modified maybe S1 somewhere, and that's why it's throwing exception. Okay, we'll see. Maybe just there is no character which is present at 8. Okay, because 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we'll see this. Or maybe we'll just print here to see what's the value of before substring. Right? And we just print the S1 here. Okay, guys, so I think this is clear, right? So, okay, let's run this program again and then see. Okay, so first thing, S1 after change. Oh, we just assigned hello to S1 right here. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, so once we change hello, okay guys, so what I will do, right, I will just maybe comment this code because it might confuse you guys. I'll just comment the old code which is not required for this case, and then we'll run again. Okay, so here we have defined S1 hello world. So then when we change it to uppercase, it has become hello world, right, like this, right? You can see everything is in caps now, right? Now we have changed to lowercase, but why it's not showing? Because here we have not printed S1, we have printed S2, so it should be S1. Okay, we'll just make it S1 and then run it up. Yeah, so this is after converting it to uppercase. This is after converting it to hello world in lowercase. And then we just having this hi, but you can see, right, there is no space here, right, because we have removed all the white spaces. it was giving earlier index out of one exception because it was picking up hello in place of hello world, because we have modified hello here like this with this one, right? Okay guys, and after this we are taking a character at index 1. So if you see hello world, right, what is the character at index 1? It will be E, right? So you can just see here we are getting E. Before substring is it's hello world, and afterward when we have taken a substring, we are taking substring from 4, index 4 to, it will go till 7. So what is at index 4? This is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. 4 it will be 0, right? And 5, 6, 7, 7 will be O. So we are getting OW. So these are the different strings methods which we have. Okay. Okay, so this is what we have in mainly in strings. Okay, now it's come for the conditional logic law, how we do with the decision making and all we do in Java whenever we want to do any kind of a decision making thing. So guys, like what is conditional logic or decision making, right? So in programming language also, right, we are doing something, we make decisions, or there can be different inputs, or we want to go for different flow, right? It's not like that everything will be going in one flow, right? We have different flows which will go through. Then what should we do in these cases? We make decision based on the conditions, right? So we know, right, we have studied already Boolean thing, right, which comes true, false, which give us our conditions. But how the conditional logic works, right? So you will have some condition based on which you will decide. So you can think it of a like, let us suppose okay. So there will be some input. Let us suppose we are saying based on the weather, right? How is the weather? And we are checking like this is just, I'm taking a maybe example from your daily life, right? Is raining, right? If it's raining, right? So this will be kind of this is a condition, or like how is weather, right? So it can be either true or false, right? Always you will get from a condition either it will be a true, right? If it's raining, we'll say you will sit inside and you will say watch movie, right? Okay. And if it's false, I think in today's scenario you cannot go outside, but yeah, let us suppose go for walk, right? So this is like based on the conditions we'll do different flows, and there can be multiple flow also, right? Like there can be a nested condition. So we do all this with if else, right? Okay, so we for all this conditional logic, right, we have if else conditions, and if there are multiple flow, we have like if else else, if else if else, like this, and we can also have nested cases for them. Like there can be a nested if else also. So we'll just see how it will work. Like how we can write if else and how the if else works in Java. Like all this conditional thing. Okay, so let's create a new class for this, right? So to see how the if else things works, and then we'll also do some problems today based on the conditional things, like based on the if else thing, right? So okay, just name it say conditional, right? Conditional logic. I'll just create a class for this. Okay. Okay, so let us suppose we want to like is designing say mark system or a pass fail system. We just name it say marks. So we have a variable say marks, like how many marks students got it, and we can also take it as an from a user. And then let us suppose, so how we write if, right? We can just say if, and in the if we write the condition, like whatever the condition which will be evaluated to Boolean or false, right? So then. Right, so then what we do, like if marks is say less than, if say marks is say greater than 30, right? So we'll just say pass, right? And guys, we can have if without else also. Like if this is a program, we can have if without the else also. It's not necessary that we'll always have else, right? If can exist without else also. So what will the, like if we just run this program, your marks is greater than 30, so it will give us the result as say pass. We can take it as an input from the user also, right? Right? So this is how we can do. But sometimes like we need the else condition also, right? Because here what's the output is just coming as pass. We don't know what will happen in the other case. So what we'll do, we can have else also. So this is how we write else. It always have, like we put this curly braces, right? And we put the condition here. If the condition is false, right? What will happen? It will just execute the else. So we can just say like fail here. So if the marks is greater than 30, it's pass. And if it's greater than 30, it's pass. If it's less than 30, right, it will go in the else condition and it will just print fail, right? This is how it will work. Okay, but there can be a cases, right? It's not that always we have just two flow, like if else, right? We can have multiple cases also. Or there can be cases, okay, I'll just maybe give you an example of say nested if else. Okay, so we'll just maybe create a new class with the same. Or we say nested condition. We'll just name it say nested conditions, right? So there can be cases, we know, right? If mass is greater than 30, it's pass, else. In else case, what we can do, we can just add again if else. So if we have a if else inside a else or inside a if, it's a nested thing because we are writing it inside if some if else, right? So what we'll do here, we just write say if marks is say, we'll just say greater than, it was greater than 30, let us suppose if it's greater than 25, we'll just pass him with the grace. So we'll just say sys out pass with grace marks, right? Or else we'll do fail, right? So it will be just fail. Right? So you can see here this if else is inside this else, right? So this is inside this else, right? And this is if, this is inside this else, we have if else also. This is called nested thing, right? Okay, so if we, okay, let's take the input from the user if you want. Okay, just for now we just define, we'll do in other programs to take our input also. If the marks say we define 26, this condition will be false. It will go in else, then it will check this condition, which will be true. So it will print this and will not execute this block because if condition is true. So else will only be executed if the if is false, right? Otherwise it will not execute this, right? Okay, let's run this, right? So you can see it's coming as pass with grace marks. Okay. So similarly, we can also have multiple branching, right? So here we have seen if else only. We can have multiple branching also, right? So how this is work? Multiple branch. Okay, I'll explain you what it does. We can have like if else, then we can have condition if else also. We can just say else if. So let us suppose if we are saying like some grading system. Let us suppose if marks is say greater than 90, we'll say grade A, right? Else if marks is say greater than 80, we'll just say grade B, right? But we want more condition also, we can just add any number of else if, like this. We can just add any number of else if it's 80, if it's 70, let us suppose we are giving C grade. If it's 50, let us suppose we are giving say some B grade. If it's say greater than 40, we'll give say E grade. Or we have to say 30 if it's some E grade. So like this we can have multiple. Or in here we can just put say else sys out. So like this we are designing say some grading system using conditional things. And just say fail. Right? And if the marks we have defined 45 here, so which condition would be true? This condition will be true. So it should come as a E grade, right? And we'll just run this. Right? Yeah. So you can see the grade is coming as E. So like this guys, we can do have multiple branching also, multiple else if condition. We can have just if condition also, nothing else, or we can have nested conditions also like this, where we have a if else inside if also. Okay, so if you have any doubts, you can just ask me in the, whatever in the conditional thing we have discussed so far. So okay, I'll take just one doubt. Like someone is asking that can we use methods on S1 hello string? Why should I create S2 new string? So what is the significance of having S2, sir? So guys, normally, right, if we talk about strings, you can call each and every method also on this string also. This is also a string, but the only way it's handled internally is different, right? But when you actually want, right, when you actually want the string to be created explicitly in the heap, then only you will do this. So this is not, I would say this is not that much recommended, like unless or until you want the strings to point different, but yeah, you generally will not have such kind of a use case. So this will not be much recommended case. Okay, do you guys have any other doubts? Okay, so we'll see a few problems in if else conditions. Like let's move on to the problems, right? So let's try some problem. Okay, so this will be saver. So we discuss all this, how the grading system work and all. Right? Let's move on to the problem 2 for today. Like what I can do, right? Okay, before we move on to the problem, right? So I think you can just mark your attendance. So the attendance code for today is right. It's 202017. So just mark your attendance quickly, guys. It's 202017. Yes, so we'll resume like problems once you mark your attendance. So I think you can just mark your attendance for today. It's 202017. An attendance form you can just find in the description. And, okay, please also share the attendance form in the chat. Yeah, static methods I will explain you guys once again. Maybe like I will explain you the assignment 2, which we wanted to do with the right, which we wanted to do with the static methods. So I will explain you that once again. Right. Yeah, guys. So I think like okay, let's take a 2-minute break. You guys can just mark your attendance quickly, and then we'll resume. And also, like if you have any doubts in the meantime, you can just ask. Okay, this is okay, okay, okay. Maybe they pasted the wrong form. No, no, you have to go for the attendance form. Guys, I think attendance form is shared again. You can just check and mark your attendance. But in the meantime, if you have any doubts, just ask, like whatever is covered so far. If you have any doubts, just ask. And attendance form also there in the description. You can just check from there also. Okay, so someone is asking what is the difference between a nested if and the multi-branching, right? So guys, whenever if you go here, right, this else will only be executed if this if is not true, right? So okay, so maybe I'm just okay. So and in this case, right, multiple branching. If this if is not true, this will else and this else. So in the nested conditions cases, right, you can have multiple else if and all these things also here, but this will be executed in this else case, right? So all these conditions or if this if else will be executed or not, it dependent on this else part. Like once this else is executed, this will be a you can think it of a separate conditional flow. But when it comes to multi-branching, this is in a one flow only. Either this will execute like this. This is just part of a one flow. Any other doubts? Or we'll move on to the say problems for today, and then we'll see switch case also. Okay, so let's see some problems for today. Okay, so let's see do one common problem like we do right normally. Like say if you want to go for say some odd even program, right? If you want to check if the given input program is a odd or even, right? If the given input number. Okay, so how to check this? Okay, so so just write our main method, right? And okay, let's go with say some user input, right? And just name it say scan. We just create a scanner object and we just say system.in, right? So we just will take this as a number as an input from the user. And to fix this, what we'll do, we'll just import the scanner class. That will be java.util. Right? We can just say scanner here. Right? So we will import this and we'll just say number equal to scan.nextInt. So we'll take an integer number from a user, right? Now what we want to do, we want to do a odd even problem, right? Right? So what is a problem here? Or maybe we'll just write it here. Problem to check if the given number is odd or even, right? So this is a problem which you want to do here. Okay. So what we can do? So we know, right, guys, we have a percent remainder operator, right, which we can use here. And once we use a remainder operator, right, and if I divide it by 2, so right, we know, right, all the even numbers should be divisible by 2. If it's coming as 0, it means it's a even number. So I can just print. So this is a shortcut, guys, to write sysout in Eclipse. You can just say sysout and you can just press control space. It will complete the complete system.out.println. And here you can print say an even number, right? Otherwise, else we know, right, if number is not even, it will be odd. If user is entering positive numbers, odd number, right? So like this. So what we can do now? So this is a program which we have written. Here we are checking if the number is divisible by 2, and it should be equal to 0, right? And it will become an even number, odd number, right? Like this. Yeah. Otherwise, it's an odd number. Okay, so let's run this program. And we'll ask the input from us, right? So we have to give us an input here. Okay, we are not asking user the input, so it will take input, but yeah, we should print something, but okay. We have not written enter the number, okay, but yeah, we can give a number. So let us suppose if I give in 13, it's coming as odd number. But yeah, it's better like if you also write here, enter the number. But this is, it's not required for the functionality, but yeah, it's look better, enter the number. Right? And we can just move this before the scan. I think it's better if you move it here. Because after the message only we should expect the input. Right? Yeah, so this is how we can enter the number. Right? So here we'll get a number, then we'll check if it's divisible by 2, then odd or even. So this is how we can just do a odd even program. Okay, so let's see a next problem for today. Next. So this is a problem 3 for today. What we want to do, okay, let's state the problem statement. Take a number as input, okay. Take a number as input from the user. If the number is, I'll just make it a multi-line command. The number is divisible by 3, print foo, right? Otherwise, if the number is divisible by 7, print bar. Otherwise, if the number is divisible by both 3 and 7, print foo bar, right? So this is our problem statement, right? What we want to do? We just want to check if the number is divisible by 3, the output should be foo. If the number is divisible by 7, the output should be bar, and if it's divisible by both, the output should be foo bar, right? Okay. Yeah. So guys, before I move on to this problem, I also wanted to introduce to logical operators, right? So before we go to this flow, I just wanted to introduce to the logical operators. So what are logical operators? So far we have seen only one condition in the if, but there can be a cases where we want to combine two conditions, right? It can be a combination of two conditions. So in these scenarios we use logical operator. And what will AND operator do? Right? What it AND operator will do? In this case, both conditions should be true. Right? In this case, any of the condition should be true. Both can also be true, but if it's any of the condition is true, the output will be true, right? So just check for any of the conditions. So this is how we can combine conditions, because it's not that always we have single condition, right? We can have multiple conditions also, right? So in double AND both should be true. In OR it should, and if any is true, it should be fine. Okay. Yeah. So I'll just show you example for this. We'll just maybe do this problem. We'll also use some AND OR here. Okay. Okay guys, so here what we wanted to do, we just wanted to say check the input, right? Okay, so to do it quicker, we'll just take our code from problem 2 of taking a number as an input, right? So we just copied our code only, okay? Okay, so what we'll do? Okay, let's see if it's going to work fine for us or not. If number is divisible by 3, right? Okay, we'll just print foo. I'm not sure if this program is going to work as expected, but yeah, let's try, guys. So programming is not just about getting a correct answer in a first go, right? It's more about building logic, right? So we should know that, okay, this is how we can do, because we want to go with some conditional flow. So we can use if else here. And there is a cases like first we want, like it can be a divisible by 3. There are the cases it can be divisible by 7. And there is also a case where it can be divisible by, say, 3 and 7. Right? Yeah. So we don't have and or keywords in Java. Okay. Okay, if it's divisible by 7, I will just print this and or keywords bar. So now it comes to divisible by both. What it will do, I'll just say else if. Oh, okay. So what I can do, I can just say num percent 3 and right, because we want both should be divisible by both and means both the condition should be true. So if num3 equal to 0 and guys, this is a question which people also ask in interviews. This is looking simple, but because of all this foo bar and the problem statement, many times people get confused. Because what is foo bar, guys? Foo bar is just to confuse you guys. It's just nothing like it's doesn't something like which exists. Why it's showing us? Oh, we not put our code. We just put our code in the okay. When we copied our code, we have not copied the main method. So it should be inside the main method only, right? So we just move it to main method. Okay. All this should be inside the main method. Yeah. And what will we print here? Like I receive this question most of the time from the students, or what is foo bar? Does it exist somewhere? It's some computer science concept. Nothing. And you will see a lot of foo bar and all, right? If you say tomorrow, if you say go for Oracle certification for Java, right? Lot of questions will have just this foo bar. Okay. So we have done, right? We are taking our input. If it's 3, we'll do foo. If it's 7, we do bar. If it's 3 and 7, we'll do foo bar. Okay, let's run this program. Okay. So let us suppose if we give, say, a number, say, 21. Right? Okay, I've given an input as 21. It's showing me foo. Don't know why it's showing me foo. Okay, let's run it again, guys. Let's give, say, a number as 6. 6 is divisible by 3, foo. Oh, it's working good, right? Okay, let's try to do some other program. Let's give 14. Oh, we are getting bars. So it's working, right? Okay, let's try some more program. And guys, always try for different scenarios. Don't just say enter, because don't always think that you have always written a correct program. You should always try out with different. Okay, let's go with, say, 21. 21 is again foo. Why foo? By it should become as foo bar, right? Now the question is why it's coming as foo. What happened in this case? 21, right? Number is 21. Is it divisible by 3? This condition will execute. Yes, it's divisible by 3. And this will give you the output, but which is foo, right? And that's it. It will not, but it's not worried about the rest of the conditions, right? It will not execute any rest of the conditions, right? So this is what happened here, right? So what's the problem here? We should always have this condition, right? Where we are checking, say, for both, it should be the first condition. So what we'll do here, we'll just move it to at the first level, right? And then we will have all these cases in else part, right? Like this. Right? Now this will work properly. So guys, what I wanted you to learn here, that in case of if else, the ordering also matters, right? Right? We should always give a broader condition as first. Then we should give a narrowed condition. Is this clear? In this case, because we are checking for both, that thing we should check first, and then we should go for the independent conditions, right? This is clear. This is important, right? While you're, say, if someone asks you this program, if you have not written this way, the solution is not correct, right? Okay. This look good. Can we have some other alternative? So guys, always there is not just one single correct solution for a problem, right? It's all about logic, and there can be a different way to implement the logic, right? Okay, so let's see. Let's try to do this program in some other way. We can have a other way to do the same problem. Okay, so what we can do, say problem 3, solution 2. Okay. This is our problem, but we want to solve it with some other method. Okay, so guys, what we can do, okay, I'll just remove this. If the number is 3, it comes as foo. In place of println, if I just give print, so guys, I know the logic of, right, The logic of ln is, the logic of what is ln. So for prime number, guys, we need to understand loops also. So we'll do it in the next session when we learn loops. Okay. So ln, what it do? New line character. If we remove ln, it will not print the new line. Okay. So what we are doing? If it's 3, we'll print foo. If it's 7, we'll just print bar. Okay. And if we just, so it, in this case only one will execute. If I just remove this else also. Okay. Now what we are doing? We are saying if number is divisible by 3, yeah, it will come foo. If the number is divisible by 7, it will come bar, right? If the number is divisible by both the condition will true, and we should get both things in the output. Okay, let's try to run this. Let us suppose if I'm giving the number as say 6, it's coming as foo. Okay, let's run it again. Let's giving the number as say 15. It's coming as foo. Okay, let's run it again. Okay, let's give say some 14, right? It's coming as bar. And let us suppose if I'm going to say 21, it's coming as foo bar, right? So how does it work? Because here it works for 21 will divisible by 3, yes, it will print foo from here. Is 21 divisible by 7, yes, it will print bar from here. But I would say this is also one approach, but yeah, I will prefer this approach because this looks more cleaner, right? In this approach, you might be confused also. So personally, I will prefer this approach. Yeah, prime number we'll do, guys, once, like maybe in the tomorrow when we learn about the, what we'll learn loops, right? So then we'll do. Okay, we are not getting next line here. So what we can do? Either we can just go here, right? If you just want to say next line character also. Someone is asking, sir, how we'll get a next line here? We can just print says empty sys out here. This will just enter a next line character, or we have a slash n also, which will just insert a new line character. Okay. Yeah, and in this case we have not given any else for. Guys, if condition can survive without else also. Okay, let's do it. Let's reduce the number of lines of code, guys. We are Java developer. We will try to do something like which Python is doing. Okay, we want to reduce the lines. We can do this also. Okay, this is also works, right? Right. So this is also work. So guys, if condition having only single line, if there is only single statement inside it, you can skip the curly braces. But if it's if it's more conditions, it will not work, right? So if there is only single, so this is not a recommended way of coding, guys. So this is just a way of reducing lines, but I will not recommend this way, solution 3. The recommended way will be the first way which we have discussed, right? Okay. But this is also like if you want to reduce lines, but that's not a recommended. This is just a way of writing the same thing. So you can see, right? So guys, the main thing which I wanted you guys to understand here, there can be a multiple way of writing the same problem. There is a multiple things which would be present in the language. That it's not that there is always one correct solution. It's not something like that there should be always a one thing, or it's not some theory thing that is always a one statement which we are expecting. It's just your program should work fine for the given input output, right? And we should reduce like in terms of memory or in terms of time, it should be good. So I think like if you are say from computer science background, you will understand that we should have like in terms of time, complexity, space, complexity, it should be good. Okay guys, so maybe I will just I think we are running out of time, so maybe switch I will cover tomorrow. So guys, any doubts in whatever we have covered today? Then I will just discuss the solution of the, I will discuss like someone was asking, sir, how the static methods work. So I'll just discuss that part and also the solution of the assignment 2. So if you have any doubts in today's whatever we have discussed, you can just ask. Assignment 2 solution will also make you understand what is the static things. Yeah, so guys, let's ask quickly if you have any doubts in the today's session. All good? Like people who are new to Java, they understood all these things, conditional logic. No, session is not over. We'll just discuss the assignment 2 solution and the static, how the static methods work. We'll discuss about the, we'll discuss about the static, how the static keywords works for methods and what was the solution for the assignment. Okay guys, so let's move on. So let's see, maybe we'll just open the assignment 2 for you guys. Because with the assignment 2 solution, we'll like hit both the but static things also and also the assignment 2 solution. So guys, what we want to do here, we wanted to create two static methods, right? Float and height converter and weight converter, right? Okay. Okay, I'll just explain you what is the return type and all also. One second, just hold on. So let us suppose we have just created as a main method. Okay. So guys, you will always see we have a static keywords in the main method. So what does static keywords means? Static means belongs to class and can be accessed without creating the objects, right? So static means this thing only, guys. You can just, whatever the static methods or variables are there, you can just access them without creating the object of that class. Understand this thing clearly. Okay, so whenever you want to define a method, right? So whenever you define a method always have a return type, right? What kind of data it will return. Then it comes to name, what will be the method name, right? And then it comes to arguments, that whatever the inputs this method will take, right? And here we can have, let's say, access modifiers, which will take public and all. We'll discuss this in the OOPS concepts, right? Access modifiers and keywords. Here we can have all this, right? So this is normally you will see a declaration of a method. So main thing comes in, right? What is the return type, what is the method name, and what is the argument. Yeah, like if you miss the user input part, you can just watch the starting part, like how we can take the inputs, which we have discussed already. Okay, so in this assignment, okay, I'll just take this example of this assignment only. We want to create it, say, height converter. Can we copy this? Okay, let's copy this. Okay, so this was our method name. So guys, what we want, this method will return float, right? And this is a height converter. It will take two inputs. One will be height inch part and the other the height feet part and the inch part. Okay. So guys, we have to make this method static because only static methods can be accessed from a static context, right? And whenever we define a return type, we have to return something also. So we'll just do the coding of this part. So you can see, right, the static methods, to create a method static, we just need to add a static keyword there. And that's done. Then it's now a static keyword. I think someone is asking, sir, what is a better way? We have a scanner class which we discussed, right, to input them, to take the input. We have another thing also which is a buffer reader. So guys, buffer reader is more complex in terms of writing the code when it comes to taking an input using buffer reader, but it's more optimized. Like it will take less times when you're reading, say, heavy data. But like in terms of practicing the code and all, scanner is sufficient. But if you want to go for more optimized code, you can go for buffer reader. But guys, to be honest, right, like in terms of, say, competitive programming or interviews and all, you never be writing a code, say, for taking inputs because it's internally handled. Okay. So what we'll do here, we are getting two inputs here, feet part and inch part, right? So you can see this is how we can define static method. This is a return type, this is a method name, and this is a argument. So someone is asking, sir, how to define static method. Are they clear now? How we can define static methods? Okay, and what we wanted to do here, okay, let's just open the statement. we have to convert 1 foot will be 12 inch and 1 inch will be 2.54, right? Okay. So here we can just define float, and we can say height, final height, right? And we know, right, the inch part, like feet part, we want to multiply by 12, right? And inch part we wanted to multiply by. So we know, guys, if you just go to the problem statement, right? So 1 inch have 2.54. So we have to multiply it by 12 also, right? Sorry, this will be an inch part, right? Right. So, yeah, 1 second. Right. So 1 inch will be 2.54. Okay. So when you multiply feet path by 12, it is now converted to inch, right? And here what we'll do, to convert it to centimeter, we have to multiply by 2.54 also, right? And inch part we know, right? Inch part we can just convert to centimeter by multiply by 2.54, right? So this is done. Why it's showing as a red line? Okay, this will become double. The reason is because it will be larger, so we just make it double. And what we'll do? While returning, we will need to cast it to float, because if you want the output as float. And we can just say final height. So whenever you do all these operations, right, multiplication and float, it will just return you double. Yeah. Right? Yeah, solutions for quiz will be also shared. So this is how we have done. This is a static method which is taking 2 inputs. Right? We can take multiple arguments also like this, and we are returning the value which is be a float. And guys, we can call static method inside a static method. Like to call a, like in main method we cannot call a non-static method. So here we can just call. So we can just take, say, input from a user. Like this is we have discussed already, right? Okay, we just import it from java.util.scanner. We can do maybe star is also fine, but star, for its star to here, it will just import all the classes. If you want a specific class, we can just import them, right? And we can just say system.out.println. We can just ask the user enter the height feet part, right? And similarly, we can ask the user enter the height inch part like this, right? And here what we'll do is scan. This will be a float, so we'll do scan x float here, right? And here also we'll do the scan x float. And we'll store this in some variable, right? We can just say store in, say, feet, maybe like something like this. And here we'll also store it in some variable which is inch part, so we can just name the variable as inch, right? And guys, here we'll call a method. So while calling a method, what we'll do, we'll just give the method name and we just pass the argument. So what are the arguments here? Feet and inch. And this feet will go to this height feet while calling, and this inch will go to this height inch part when calling. And we can store the result in some variable, or we can directly print also. So we can just say float result equal to this, right? Oh, it's giving us some error. Why? Oh, here we have given int, right? So what we were expecting, int here or a float here? Okay, we'll just see the problem statement. Okay, if you call define the input part. Okay, we can just go. Let's see the problems. Okay, we are expecting integer here only, so we'll just make it. We need to read here integer only, right? So then we'll go for int only. So we'll just go int, and then we'll make it int also. So if we want to handle, say, float also in the input, we can read in float. Otherwise, we can read it in integer. Okay. So I think this is how we were done, and then we can print this result height in centimeter, and then we can just print the result. So guys, this is how we can achieve this one method which we have want to do here. So if you have done it through normal way, right, you should always do it through method, because the objective was you learn how to write methods and how to call static methods and all. So don't do everything in the main. And once we have written it, we can just try out with some test cases, right? Okay, so test cases say 5, 1. Okay, we want to say call this directly, so we can call it, or here we are taking the input, so we can go with input also. So if you have done with direct defining the variable, that's also fine. I just wanted to show you the other way of by taking the input. So if you are saying 511, it should come at 180.34, right? So this is coming as expected. Similarly, you can write the weight part also. So is it clear to? Yeah, this is fine. If you have submitted without user input, that's fine, because user input is covered today, so that's fine. That was not expected. But if you want, you can try out this program on your own with user input, like just for your case. Like to learn more, you can do that part. Okay, guys. So, any doubts for like in today's session or the assignment solutions? So you can just refer this for the solution part. And we'll see more like to loops and all tomorrow. And after that, we'll go with OOPS concepts, how inheritance, encapsulation, other things works in case of. Okay, someone is asking lowercase and uppercase thing. So maybe I'll just cover that quickly. Okay, let's do one more problem. So do you guys want me to do one more problem, maybe with uppercase, lowercase? Because we are about to reach end the time. Do you guys want me to do one more problem? Weight converter. Okay, guys, I will just explain you weight converter also, maybe. Okay, so let's go with the weight converter. Okay, guys, I will just cover weight converter also. Someone is asking weight converter. And also tell me if you want me to do one more problem after the weight converter. I will explain you weight converter also. If you want one more problem after the weight converter, you can just write in the chat box one more problem. Otherwise, we'll end up the session after the weight converter. So this was the logic which we wanted. And this will be also a static method, right? And it will also take our input as integer and it will return the float, right? Okay. So here what we'll do, we'll just get our weight and okay, and then let's see the problem statement that what is the conversion. So 1 kg is 2.2 pounds. So we have to just convert it to pounds. So we have to just multiply it with 2.2, right? So what we'll do, whatever the input is there, so we'll just say float. We just say result, right? And whatever the input is there, weight, we just multiply it by 2.2. And this will by default, like because it will give us double. This is the default behavior, like when we do all this multiplication, or it will give us, sorry, it will give us a default. So we have to explicitly typecast it to float. Okay, we have to give brackets here also. And then we'll just return the result. So return type is something like which we are getting as back from the method or function. Okay, so this is how the weight converter will work, and here we can just say, okay, this is result in height, and then we say just float, and you just say result W, which is for coming for weight converter, and here we'll say weight converter. And guys, here I will just show you how to do it directly. So let us suppose I am defining a variable in weight in kg, right? And let's go with what was the problem sample given here? It's 60, right? So we'll just see quickly for 60, right? This is weight 60, and we just pass the weight here, weight in kg, and this will be our weight converter output, right? So we'll just copy this, and we say result weight in, and this will be in pounds, right? And then let's run this program. This will ask us for the height and weight because we are taking input, so it will ask input. For weight, it do directly. Oh, we printed. I think we have to print result W, not result. For abstract method and all, we'll go, guys, like once you need to understand OOPS concepts, once we start like, once we go with the OOPS concept, then you only will be able to understand abstract method. So this will cover once we start with the OOPS concepts from next to next session. So it is coming as 132.0. So let's see if it's working fine. Yeah, it's coming as expected. Yeah, guys. So this is what way for today. So I think we'll end up the session here only today because like we will do. Okay, let me know if you guys want. I can do one more problem. If you want to take, if you don't want to take separate input and you want to take 5" and all, then you have to take it as a string and then you have to split it. So maybe I will show you the split method tomorrow if you guys want, because for split method you need to understand some part of array also, but substring method would be useful. Okay, guys. So I think we are good for today. If you want, I will just do one problem about the lowercase and uppercase thing string tomorrow. I'll show you one problem around that. And then we'll see how the loops and other things for loop, all these things work. We wanted to cover switch also, but yeah, switch case I will just show you tomorrow. For precision, like you have to do it like while printing the things. So maybe I will just take example of float precision tomorrow also. Yeah, so. Okay, guys. So let me know if you have any doubts. We are good for today. Thank you everyone for joining us today. And be a part of the community, join the channel and also hit the like button. So, and also like as a community member, like what we want from you guys, just to help others also. Like if you are learning something, you can teach others, or you can just share about NES4 code them. They can join maybe next batch, right? And someone was asking, sir, when is Python batch coming? So guys, we are coming up back with the Python batch very soon and with more content. Like I think last time, whatever we have covered in the last batches of Python, we can think of it, it will be almost double in the next batch which are coming in the Python. And there are more things which are coming, we'll launch few more courses soon, so you'll get a notification. Just be part of a community, just be there on the, you can just keep visiting the courses section and you can just be there in the Telegram channel. You will getting updates. And if you have missed like how to take input and all, you can just go through today's session once and then. And today's assignment we'll be sharing soon, like on the classroom or the. And guys, normally. Yeah. Okay. Okay, guys. Thank you. Yeah, for float precision and all, I'll just show you guys once, maybe tomorrow. It will be mainly like will be okay. Like Python course content, like you will guys get to know like once it's launched. Okay, I cannot say anything right now, but yeah, will be a good topics will be there. If you want, like there will be like we are planning for one advanced Java course also. Like if you guys are interested. Okay, guys. So we'll end up now. We'll see you all.